I've never heard of a crime like this. It was shocking.
Why didn't they get stopped and thrown away the key long ago?
Our family is being held hostage.
They had the phone number of the house. No one made a call.
My sister had been burned beyond recognition.
Where were the police?
It must have been horrifying.
When the police force is confronted by real evil, it's always a mismatch.
If the police are told they will kill the children and the husband.
How could you not be affected by what happened in this case?
I think that the death penalty is in order.
The rapes and the strangling, no one stopped it.
There are some people who do not deserve to live in God's world.
The Pettit murder case is really the quintessential nightmare. A family is at home, they've gone to bed. Suddenly, evil comes in, and their whole world is destroyed.
Cheshire, Connecticut is this town right out of Norman Rockwell. It is a place where kids are safe to play outside and they run free.
Cheshire is beautiful. It is a very peaceful, quiet town. It's quaint. The worst thing that ever happens there probably are parking tickets that people get.
No one in that area locks their doors at all. They're just very safe and trusting people.
There are a lot of affluent, old New England families living in the community, and the Pettits fit right in.
Dr. Pettit is an endocrinologist. He's one of the top diabetes experts in the country.
Dr. Pettit is not just one of the best physicians in the area. He's a leader in the community, as was his father before him. These were movers and shakers.
When William Pettit was a medical student, he met Jennifer Hawk and fell in love. They married and soon after had 2 daughters.
My sister, as a mother, she became very selfless and very doting over her children. She almost forgot about herself, and her life was all about Haley and Michaela and who they were and what their needs were.
My brother and Haley would click together just because they were older and more athletic, and Michaela and I would always kind of be the little ones, and we'd run around together and play the littlest silly games.
Michaela loved cooking. She loved to watch the Food Network. She loved animals. She'd recently become vegetarian.
Haley was 17. She was very athletically and academically inclined. As a young woman that was very intelligent, and we just everybody kind of couldn't wait to see what Haley was going to do and become in the world. I remember when Haley and Michaela would come to visit, and sometimes it would be on a long spring break from their schools in Connecticut. And when Haley was in her later elementary years, she came here, and one of her assignments was, if you had $1 million, what would you do with it? And she was so interesting to me in what she chose to pursue. She wanted to figure out what she could do to help others, like beginning a camp for children that would be for handicapped kids where they could ride horses in ways that would help them mount the horses and things like that, so that they could have the ride of a lifetime or something. And it was just interesting to me that she thought on such a different plane than most kids probably would at that age. She was ready to take on her college career path, and everyone was just so excited to see what she would become.
Haley is planning to go to Dartmouth in the fall. She has just graduated from Miss Porter's, which is a very prestigious school for girls where Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis and Gloria Vanderbilt went. She's also an all-star athlete on the rowing team.
Haley was blooming and blossoming.
But the picture-perfect family isn't without problems. Jennifer battles multiple sclerosis, and the Pettit daughters make finding a cure their cause.
Girls were always hoping that there would be a cure found for multiple sclerosis. Haley really was interested in following her father's footsteps in the medical field. She was very interested in helping people with finding cures for whatever ailed them.
On July 22nd, 2007, Michaela wants to cook Sunday dinner for her family. So she and Jennifer head to the grocery store.
Stop and Shop was the local supermarket. Everybody did their shopping there. If you parked there and looked around, sooner or later, you would see everybody in Cheshire. Jennifer and Michaela Pettit pull into the parking lot and go in to buy some groceries for that evening's dinner.
Jennifer and Michaela, who also goes by KK, are going up and down the aisles. They're shopping for groceries.
Michaela was heavily into cooking. She wanted to be a chef one day. She was preparing dinner that night, was very excited about that. That was the reason why they had to go to the store and get ingredients.
After Jennifer and Michaela finish, they pull out of the parking lot and head towards home.
They go through the winding roads of Cheshire, through a woods, and the woods end, and there's huge houses with lots of space and yard between them. The women go into the corner house, the biggest, nicest house. In Cheshire, the houses are far apart. The lawns are big. There's undulating yards. And it's idyllic, but it's also perfect for hiding and for more nefarious purposes.
Of course, Jennifer and Michaela have no idea they're being followed. They're in the car, carefree, probably listening to music, excited about their dinner that night.
Inside the Pettit home, the family enjoys a quiet evening together.
It's a fairly typical Sunday night at the Pettit house. They have a nice dinner, they watch Army Wives, and then Jennifer and the girls go upstairs to bed to read.
Dr. Pettit was studying some medical journals and fell asleep on the couch.
While all is quiet in the Pettit home, two men are watching and waiting.
The two men are parked in a very dark, secluded site. And in the back seat are zip ties, rope, and an air rifle.
The two men put on masks and slink out of their car. They approach the back of the house. As the men cross the backyard, one of them spots a baseball bat. He picks it up and carries it with him.
They got into the home through the Bilko doors in the basement.
The plan was to tie everyone up in the bedroom upstairs. But the two were surprised when, after they entered through the basement of the house, they found Dr. Pettit asleep on the couch in the sunroom.
This is completely unexpected. One of the intruders has the baseball bat in his hand, and he's got a choice to make. Do they sneak out of the house and just forget it? Or do they do what they need to do to move forward with this plan? He makes a decision that puts an unthinkable series of events into motion.
Following a family dinner on a warm summer evening, the Pettit family slumbers away inside their home, unaware of the danger lurking outside.
Two men are staking at the house, waiting for everyone to go to bed so they could rob the place at around 3 a.m. They are surprised when they entered the house through the basement and see Dr. Pettit asleep in the sunroom.
Dr. Pettit was sound asleep, and he woke to a baseball bat coming flying toward his head.
One of the men hit Dr. Pettit over the head with a baseball bat several times.
The next thing he knew, they took him down to the basement and they tied him up.
With Dr. Pettit out of commission, now these guys have free reign over the house. They go to the rest of the house, and there they find the 3 women in bed.
The intruders go into Bill and Jennifer's bedroom. Jennifer and Michaela had fallen asleep there. He puts his hand over Jennifer's mouth and shakes her awake. The mother man takes Michaela back into her room.
The 2 intruders subdue Mrs. Pettit, Haley, and Michaela, gag them, and tie them to their beds.
And then the men put pillowcases over the heads of all 3 women.
It's hard to imagine how terrified the Pettits must have been. They were waken out of a deep sleep, and suddenly there are these 2 strange men in their house who've tied them up and blindfolded them. And they're not even in the same room together, so they can't know how the rest of their family is doing. It must have been horrifying.
With Dr. Pettit unconscious and the women tied up, the intruders ransack the home, looking for money and valuables.
There's a lot of furniture being thrown around in the house.
They take the easy stuff first, the credit cards and cash from the purses and the wallets. Then they search for a safe, hoping for a big payday.
And they're very disappointed in what they find. They're starting to get antsy about that.
The 2 men are yelling at each other. They want to find a safe with jewels and cash in it.
During the ransacking of the house, these guys come across a bank ledger. And by looking at the numbers, they realize that the reason this family doesn't have any money in the house is because it's all in the bank.
These guys now think they've hit the jackpot.
The intruders formulate a plan to cash in.
They decide that they're going to have Jennifer Pettit go to the bank in the morning and withdraw a large sum of money and hand it over.
Trouble is, the bank doesn't open until 9 o'clock. So for 4.5 hours, there's nothing to do but just sort of hang out with their hostages. Then they do an odd thing.
The intruders take 2 gasoline cans from the Pettit's garage, and they go to a gas station to fill them up using a stolen credit card from the Pettits.
What could these men possibly be planning to do with all of the gasoline? One of the heartbreaking moments about this story is that when these 2 men left the house, the people inside must have thought that their nightmare was over. They didn't realize that the men would be coming back.
But with their wrists and ankles bound to their beds, there's no way to escape before the intruders return to the Pettit house. With hours to spare before the bank opens, the 2 men check on their hostages.
Dr. Pettit is slowly regaining consciousness, but he's badly dazed. The man stands over his hostage with his baseball bat in his hand, but he doesn't swing.
Instead, he gets a towel for Dr. Pettit to put on his bleeding head.
The masked man enters Michaela's bedroom.
He takes the pillowcase off of her head, he takes the gag out of her mouth, and he lets her have a few sips of water. She must have been terrified.
He puts the pillowcase back over her head and goes into Haley's room.
He unties her and allows her to go down the hall to the bathroom. She was very strong. She was very athletic. She could have outrun these losers given the chance, but she was probably afraid of what would happen to her family if she did anything. So she's in this terrible, nightmarish situation, and she goes back into the bedroom.
It's been hours since the 2 intruders entered the Pettit family's home. As the sun rises, they make final preparations for their plan: to take Jennifer Pettit to the bank and force her to withdraw money.
So one of the first things as the plan starts to be put into action is one of the men forces Jennifer to call Dr. Pettit's office to tell him he's calling out sick today.
These guys don't want anyone to know that there's something wrong. So Jennifer Pettit calls. She was doing whatever they told her to do. The receptionist on the other end did not sense that anything was wrong. She just said, "I hope that he feels better." And that was the end of the call.
After what seems like an eternity, finally it's 9 o'clock, and Jennifer can be taken to the bank.
While one of the intruders drives Jennifer to make her cash withdrawal, the other stays behind with Haley, Michaela, and Dr. Pettit.
The same shopping plaza as the Stop and Shop was the bank. The man sent her in. She was under instructions to not say anything about the abductions or else her girls would be killed. Other people who were there paused when she entered because she was giving off such grim vibes.
Jennifer does the only thing that she can think to do at that moment. When she fills out the withdrawal slip, she writes, "I need to take $15,000 out of my savings account in cash. I have to have the money because my family is being held hostage. If the police are notified, my family will be killed."
The bank employees tried to figure out what they should do.
Jennifer was still so afraid of what would happen to her husband and her daughters if she made a single misstep. She desperately wanted help. She was afraid what would happen if she got help. It's a little after 9 a.m. on July 23rd, 2007, and Jennifer Pettit is in the bank trying to withdraw $15,000 in the hopes that if she gives that to her captors, they will let her family go.
The teller was a very young girl. At first, she said, "I can't give you that kind of money without your husband's signature." My sister said they told me to get them the funds. They said that they wouldn't hurt anyone if they got the money, and I don't tip off the police.
The teller gives the note to bank manager Mary Lyons, who comes to the front to meet Jennifer.
Mary Lyons said that my sister looked terrified. Her hands were just trembling.
Others in the bank can tell that something is not right with Jennifer. A woman named Debbie Biggins was watching all of this go on, and she says you could just feel the fear emanating from Jennifer Pettit.
My sister took out the picture in her wallet of her two daughters and showed Mrs. Lyons and said, "These are my two girls." And she said that looking at my sister from one mother to another, she knew that she was telling her the truth.
Despite what the note said, Mary Lyons does the right thing, and she calls 911 while Jennifer is still in the bank.
My name is Mary Lyons. I'm the banking center manager at Bank of America. We have a lady who is in our bank right now who says that her husband and children are being held at their house. She's getting $15,000 to bring out to them that if the police are told, they will kill the children and the husband.
Mrs. Lyons peeked through the blinds and saw my sister's car as she had described it.
The people are in a car outside the bank.
Mrs. Lyons told the police the whole situation.
Her name is Jennifer Pettit, P-E-T-I-T. She is petrified. She wasn't going to call the police, but I came in my office and I did.
Okay, she still is in the bank?
I think she's walking out now. She's walking out now.
Okay, Jennifer Pettit, 300 Sorter Mill Road.
Yeah.
She's being held?
Her husband
and family is being held?
Yes.
Did she say anything about weapons or anything like that?
She didn't. She went outside, but I don't... Oh, wait, I see her walking now. She's walking there. She's getting in a car.
Mary Lyons sees Jennifer Pettit leave the bank at approximately 9:23 a.m. and drive away with her abductor.
She gives police a description of the vehicle. Sirens can be heard in the distance.
Shoot all units. Just got a call from the manager of Bank of America.
Every second counts in a moment like this. When the officers finally arrive, they arrive at the wrong location.
There was still a suspicion at the police headquarters that there was a situation at the bank.
We're going to have a detective on the way to the bank.
So instead of going immediately to the Pettit's house, they went to the bank thinking it was being robbed.
The police missed Jennifer by 2 minutes.
There was some kind of discussion between police about whether or not this was a real case.
Apparently, she came into the bank. She tried to get some money out. One of the accounts was in the husband's name, and then she says, well, my kids are at home tied up, so we don't know if they really are, or if she was just trying to get money out of the bank at this point.
Meanwhile, Jennifer is being driven back to her home.
As they drive back to the house in the SUV, watching the world outside, on the street, it seems like just another normal morning in Cheshire.
While the police sort out where they are supposed to be, Jennifer Pettit and her abductor arrive back at the house. He takes Jennifer inside and shuts the door.
A1 to D1. Go ahead. Do you hear what's going on here? Roger, we are en route.
Minutes after Jennifer and her abductor return to the Pettit home, police descend on the neighborhood.
First one cop car, then another. Then there's a call for a SWAT team, because by this time they figured out that there's a hostage situation.
We're gearing up now. We're heading out. What was the number in Sorghum? 300 Sorghum Mill Road, 300.
Down in the basement, Dr. Pettit is regaining consciousness. He has no idea what has happened. He has no idea if his family is safe. He's very dazed.
Jennifer is screaming, and Dr. Pettit wakes up. Somehow, with superhuman strength of when your family's in trouble, gets his hands free.
Dr. Pettit is in a fury, and he's just trying to escape, to get out of there, to try to save his family.
He crawls to the cellar door, and he pushes them open. He starts crawling toward a neighbor's house, and his neighbor happens to be outside.
Dr. Pettit and the neighbor have no idea the police are already on the scene.
Somebody's outside yelling out the name Dave. It came from between that brew house and where you are. Looks like we got someone else walking across the street now.
Dr. Pettit's neighbor didn't even recognize him at first because he was so badly beaten up.
One of the SWAT team guys spotted him, and they thought he might have been a perpetrator.
Suddenly they look up, and there are police rushing them with their guns drawn, and it's mass confusion. The police don't know who this man crawling across the lawn is. Dr. Pettit starts shouting, the girls are in the house. Dr. Pettit has escaped. The police are on the scene. And then they turn and they see that flames are erupting from the Pettit house.
Station C2 Cheshire on here with a signal 50, a report of a house fire, structural fire.
The Pettit family has been held hostage overnight in their home. Dr. Pettit has finally escaped, but now his home is ablaze, and his wife and 2 daughters are still inside.
By 9:58, the house is consumed in flames.
We have a structure fire at the residence. We do not know if there are still occupants.
The intruders bolt out of the front door.
Suspects are moving into the car, sir.
They jump into the Pettit's SUV. They pull out of the driveway. They run into a police car, and the police are screaming at them to stop with their guns drawn.
Come on, back, get down! Vehicle is fleeing!
They're trying to make a run for it, but they run smack into a roadblock, smash into other cars, end up disabling their own vehicle.
The police rush the car. They're telling them to get out of the car, hands where they can see them.
These guys are face down in the street with their hands behind their heads. But the house is on fire, and it's burning quick.
We got a house fire. We got to clear the house.
It's not until after the men are apprehended that the fire department starts putting out the flames, and by that point, it's too late for the police to go into the house.
A1 to units at the scene, make entry into the residence. HQ, the house is on fire. We're having trouble getting in.
By now, Dr. Pettit is in an ambulance, going to the hospital. He has no idea what has happened to his family.
Once the fire is extinguished, police discover the charred remains of what was once the Pettit home.
When I first got a phone call from my brother-in-law's sister, she said, "Are you sitting down?" So I was kind of bracing that it would be really bad and really hard to hear. And she continued to say that the girls were all killed. I remember going out on my back deck and just screaming, "No, no, no," and just screaming because you felt like to scream. No would denounce it from being.
When Dr. Pettit finally wakes up in the hospital, he realizes that even though he is awake, he has not awoken from his nightmare. When he finds out that his entire family's gone, it's hard to imagine how a man stays sane in those circumstances.
Police arrest Stephen Hayes and Joshua Komisarjevsky just after their failed escape from the Pettit home.
The two suspects are in custody. They are sitting in separate interrogation rooms, and they begin to tell two versions of what happened and who they are.
Stephen Hayes was a petty thief. His history was doing drugs, commit some petty crimes, go back to prison.
He was in 17 different correctional facilities by the time he was in his 40s.
Joshua Komisarjevsky had a much more serious history because he had these burglary convictions that were burglarizing residential homes in the middle of the night. That was his thing.
He said it was better than drugs. It was like a sexual kick he got. He would go into houses, go upstairs by the bedrooms, and listen to the occupants breathing.
Joshua seems to up the ante with each of his crimes.
He broke into a law enforcement officer's home and stole his uniform. Josh didn't care what he stole. These were crimes against the people who lived in those houses because he was a cold-blooded predator.
Even as a young man, Joshua engaged in criminal acts, showing both a twisted fascination with fire and disturbing behavior.
He torched an abandoned gas station in Cheshire and then watched the fire from nearby. He got very excited by the fire. And he went and hid in the woods and carved the word hate into his forearm with a hunting knife.
Years later, Joshua Komisarjevsky meets Stephen Hayes in a halfway house.
Stephen tells the detectives how they became friends, but they had lost touch until just a few days before the Pettit robbery. Stephen was in dire need of money. He had been kicked out of his mother's house, and if he didn't have a place to live, he might have to go back to jail for violating his probation.
So Josh decides, okay, we'll go to the very richest part of town, and we'll make sure that we get you your money. Josh parks his van at the Stop and Shop and waits for shoppers to come out who look like they might fit the bill.
About 6 o'clock, I saw a mother and a daughter walk to the Stop and Shop. Noticed that they were driving a very nice vehicle. They followed them on, and the daughter to their house.
So that night, while the Pettits are getting ready to sit down to dinner, Stephen texts Joshua, "Are we still on?" Hayes gets a message, "Yes." Hayes says, "Soon?" And Joshua says, "Hold your horses." Hayes, "Dude, the horses will want to get loose, LOL.
10 o'clock rolled around. I made a decision to go out and meet up with Mr. Stephen Hayes.
Joshua reveals the disturbing details that led to the deaths of Jennifer and her daughters.
Joshua says that after Jennifer and Stephen got back from the bank, Stephen looked out the window and he saw a police officer. And he flew into a rage. He grabbed Jennifer, he threw her down on the living room coffee table, he started strangling her.
I hear this noise out in the basement and suddenly recognized it as the door that led to the outside, right where the dad was. I jumped up, speaking to Steve that father just took off.
Joshua knows they're in big trouble.
I could see behind Steve that mother was laying lifeless on the floor and her pants were down around her ankles.
During the investigation, the criminals engage in, of course, a cowardly game of pointing fingers at each other.
Steve says, very matter of fact, okay, you're ready, we gotta kill them and burn the house down. He's pouring a whole bunch of gasoline on the kitchen floor. He gets me naturally. I see it sailing, you just see a puddle of gasoline on the kitchen, and the entire kitchen just erupts in like a sea of flame.
The truth of the matter is, we know that Joshua loves fire. Lighting a big fire accelerated with gasoline is right up his alley.
Joshua grabs the keys to the SUV and bolts for the door.
Investigators attempt to confirm Joshua's version of events by reviewing the contents of his cell phone.
And what they found on the cell phone is just completely appalling. He had taken photos that are time-stamped throughout the home invasion, and it shows Joshua repeatedly molesting 11-year-old Michaela.
And I went into KK's room, and one thing led to another, and I used his pair of scissors and that cut her shirt off and her skirt off.
The autopsy reports confirmed that the 11-year-old was raped and that both daughters died of smoke inhalation. It is shattering to know that Michaela's last hours were even more horrible than anyone imagined.
Joshua Komazarjevsky is a sadist. When he refers to Michaela as KK, because that's what the family called her, how dare you call her KK after what you did to her?
Komazarjevsky is a seriously disturbed young man after he had spotted Mrs. Pettit and young Michaela at Stop and Shop. I am convinced at that point he was interested in the 11-year-old girl.
Once people hear about the heinous crime, the media descends on Cheshire.
Cold-hearted crime. These two men are accused of tearing a family apart.
It is a huge national news story.
The country just cannot fathom the horror that had just been inflicted upon that family. There's a lot of controversy about whether these two should have been paroled and whether they should have been more supervised when they were on parole.
Why didn't they get stopped and thrown away the key long, long ago?
The public also had questions like, where were the police between the time Jennifer left the bank and the time the house caught on fire?
The police were there in the beginning. Why didn't they stop things before the house was set on fire?
To answer some of the questions, the police hold a press conference.
Upon arrival at the victim's residence.
And in this press conference, the police department's explanation of the events led to enormous outrage.
After all the events of the Pettit murder case had come out, it's hard not to wonder if anything else could have been done. If the police had rushed in sooner, would it have changed things?
To answer some of the questions, the police finally hold a press conference.
Upon arrival at the victim's residence, the first officer observed two male subjects exit private residence and also observed the private residence fully engulfed in flames.
According to the police chief's initial report, officers did not arrive at the scene until Stephen and Joshua were fleeing in the Pettit's SUV. And the Pettit house was already on fire, and it was too late to intervene. But 911 calls and eyewitnesses offer a different timeline.
Jennifer Pettit and her abductor, Stephen Hayes, left the bank at approximately 9:23 a.m. and traveled back to the Pettit home, which was just minutes away.
Only about a minute after Stephen and Jennifer arrived back at the house, police start to arrive.
Once on the scene, police began to surround the Pettit home.
The police chief said, "Do not approach the home until I arrive."
A1 to units, I do not want you to approach the house. Hang back from that location.
In a big city, there would have been a phone call to the house. There would have been an attempt to contact the people who are holding the hostages and negotiate with them. Instead, there is an attempt to completely surround the house.
I want to get further stuff
And it takes a long time to get enough police to put a perimeter all around the house. And then when it's in place, the SWAT team realizes they don't have their bulletproof vests. So there's another delay.
Grab my vest if you have access real quick. I'm already away from the van. I can go back.
So we're up to 9:50 now, and still the police have not made any attempt to contact the people in that house.
I have two phone numbers. Let me know when or if you want to make contact with the house.
They had the phone number of the house. No one made a call.
Just before 10 a.m., police discovered Dr. Pettit escaped and is gravely wounded.
Are you police? Yes. I got Bill My neighbor.
33 minutes elapsed from a bank employee's call alerting the police to a possible hostage situation to the confirmation by police that at least one person at the home was in physical distress.
By 9:58 a.m., the Pettit home is engulfed in flames.
To know that the police were at my sister's home before 9:30, and they were there the whole way until 10 o'clock, and everything bad that happened, the rapes and the strangling, dispersing fuel all over the home and lighting it on fire, all of that happened in that amount of time. I could not believe that no one stopped it.
In their attempt to follow the book, law enforcement didn't follow their hearts. Your heart has to be telling you that something's bad going on in that house. We should get in there and stop it. Be the heroes of the situation. And they didn't. And boy, do they not want to talk about it.
Pettit's relatives and the local papers all press the police for answers, but the department offers no explanation or internal investigation.
They wouldn't even talk to our family. My mother and father wrote the police letters. They were never responded to. The police officers involved in the Pettit case were given bonuses for how they dealt with the case. Are you kidding me? The police did not cause this, but they could have helped prevent it, and it would have had a very different outcome.
Almost a week after the murders, there was a public memorial service for Jennifer and Michaela and Haley, and hundreds of people showed up, and it was a scene of, as you can imagine, just terrible, terrible grief.
While Dr. Pettit's still recovering from these injuries that nearly killed him, he's sitting there thinking about how he can carry on the legacies of his wife and daughters, and he wrote this incredibly beautiful eulogy for them.
I guess if there's anything to be gained from the senseless deaths of my beautiful family, it's for us to all go forward with the inclination to live with a faith that embodies action, help a neighbor, fight for a cause, love your family, to spread the work of these three wonderful women.
3 years after the murders, the first of two trials takes place.
It took 6 months for a jury to be selected. This case was so well known in the area, and Dr. Pettit was there every day for jury selection, as hard as it was. He said, I am the face of my family now. I have to be there to represent them.
There were separate trials in this. Hayes went first, which was my case. Komazejewski went second a year later.
That meant having 2 separate years of going through trials for us.
Dr. Pettit testified at both trials. It must have been a horrible ordeal, be in the same room with those guys.
He had never spoken about that day, so none of us had ever really known what he experienced in the house that night. I will never forget his testimony at the trial. He was one of the first witnesses, and there wasn't a sound in the room when he testified, and I don't know how he got through it to relive the worst day of his life. There were times during the testimony that he just broke down and cried.
Stephen Hayes and Joshua Komazejewski are found guilty of murder and other crimes and sentenced to death.
There was a number of people on that jury who weren't really sure where they stood at the death penalty, but after they looked at the facts of the case, they could only see their way to find one appropriate punishment that would serve justice.
First, I didn't think I wanted these men to have the death penalty because those were my prior beliefs. But when you think about how heinous it is, 2 people lit your family members on fire while they're still alive. And after hearing the rap sheets of these 2 guys, I changed my opinion.
Breaking and entering at night while the family's at home is now considered a violent crime in Connecticut. And that has to be considered before any person is released on parole who's done something like that. That was a law that was passed because of the Pettit murders.
In 2012, capital punishment was overturned in Connecticut, so both Komazejewski and Hayes' sentences were commuted to life in prison without parole.
I could be so angry all the time, and I could really focus on those 2 guys that did this to my family. They took my only cousins, my only aunt away, but I would rather think about the loving memories that we have. Sometimes I see like 3 butterflies flying around. I'm like, that could be them just trying to hang out with me. And a lot of times, sorry. A lot of times something will happen, and sometimes when good things happen, like when I was hired for the first time, my first teaching position, I remember walking outside and feeling the sunshine and being like, oh, I really feel like they're here right now. I feel like they're excited for me, and this is their way of showing it. Just kind of feel like they're there with me.
Since the tragedy, the site of the Pettit home has been transformed.
The house was torn down, but Dr. Pettit did not get rid of the property. With the help of the community, he has turned it into a garden in honor of his family.
It's really beautiful and peaceful, and you would never know what horrors had happened on that property.
When my brother-in-law was teaching the girls about seeds and flowers and everything, he taught Michaela how to plant 4 o'clocks. They're pretty prolific and beautiful and fragrant, and it was made into Connecticut's children's state flower in honor of Michaela. And I just like to see life going on in their names.
In the years since his family's tragedy, Dr. Pettit has tried to rebuild his life.
Now he's pursuing a political career, and he's state representative in the state of Connecticut. I had a feeling he would marry again, and he has, and he's had his own child now. We are very close to he and his family. Haley, Michaela, and Jen are gone, and we'll never get them back, but they're still with us. And my brother-in-law does an awesome job at carrying on the memory of the 3 girls' lives. There is even the Pettit Family Foundation making sure that good is being done in their names.
Dr. Pettit, in the way it was a classic people story, someone who goes through something horrific but tries to make something good come out of it. A lot of us go through things in our lives that we think are tough, and we think, how am I going to get through this day? And then you look at someone like Dr. Pettit, who survived the unimaginable. He's inspirational to a lot of people.
Inspired by his daughter, Michaela, Dr. Pettit refuses to let the convicted killers take away all his hope. She kept a quote from Gandhi in her school locker. It said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world."
Música. Yasmín F. era una modelo en ciernes y actriz que comenzó su carrera como modelo corporal. Pintura y trajes de baño con tan solo 28 años. Ella se hizo bastante famosa, apareciendo en espectáculos por todo Las Vegas, área de Las Vegas, y ella incluso tuvo un breve temporada en un reality show de VH1, pero en 2009. La carrera de Yasmín dio un giro inesperado y final trágico cuando desapareció en tarde del 14 de agosto. Pocas horas después, los investigadores de su desaparición encontraron sus restos metidos dentro de una maleta y abandonado dentro de un contenedor de basura. El estado de su cuerpo era humillante, por decirlo suavemente. Lo menos que el perpetrador tenía ha sido tan brutal que Yasmín solo pudo ser identificado por los números de serie en sus implantes mamarios, pero ¿quién podría haberlos tenido? ¿Han hecho algo así, detectives? Tener una idea muy clara de quién es el perpetrador era, y ellos incluso presionan cargos en su contra, pero por un suceso impactante y bastante inesperado, razón por la que el hombre nunca fue arrestado, aunque el caso continuaría cambiando el rostro de la telerrealidad, música, para siempre. Fueron poco más de 20 años hace tiempo, cuando la telerrealidad moderna irrumpió por primera vez. Irrumpió en escena y muchos atribuyen el género éxito para programas como Survivor de CBS, que se emitió por primera vez en el año 2000 después de Survivor, que tuvo un éxito. Series de lanzamiento como American Idol, Bachelor y Los Osbourne no estaban muy lejos. Para 2005, VH1 realmente había comenzado a quedarse atrás. Aprovecha la nueva moda de los reality shows. Televisión y muy pronto lanzaron la serie Meghan quiere un millonario a pesar del increíble éxito del programa, aunque solo logró emitirse durante un tiempo, una sola temporada antes de que fuera cancelada, y todo es por la trágica pérdida de Jasmine Fier. Jasmine tuvo una situación algo difícil tiempo creciendo porque sus padres se separaron cuando ella tenía solo 8 años. Esto significaba que su madre se veía obligada a criar a la pequeña Jasmine completamente sola. Viviendo en Bunny Dune, California, todos nosotros saber lo caro que puede ser vivir en California. Así que no hace falta decirlo, que los dos probablemente tuvieron bastantes problemas. Pero a medida que Jasmine crecía un poco, ella descubrió que le encantaba jugar fútbol independientemente de cuán inclusivo sea el deporte es hoy en día. Esto fue un poco inusual para una niña del tamaño de Jasmine y estatura para practicar un deporte tan exigente en ese momento de la historia, pero Jasmine no era de los que se acobardaban a la hora de presionar límites al entrar en su adolescencia. Años después, Jasmine encontró trabajo en una empresa local supermercado, pero todo el tiempo ella quería perseguir sus sueños de convertirse en una modelo. Cuando Jasmine alcanzó la mayoría de edad, ella comenzó a solicitar trabajos de modelaje y logró conseguir algunas oportunidades de trabajo. Bastante rápido se convirtió primero en una modelo de trajes de baño y poco después de esto ella encontré trabajo como modelo de pintura corporal para varias personas en fiestas y entretenimiento reuniones. Jasmine tuvo tanto éxito con sus clientes que ella incluso consiguió varios espectáculos en algunos de Los Ángeles, los casinos más grandes de Las Vegas. Para Jasmine todo iba perfectamente según lo previsto a su plan, y ella realmente estaba viviendo su sueño, en el que apareció en varios anuncios de servicios para adultos como líneas telefónicas para adultos y similares, y las cosas realmente pintaban bien para ella en términos de su carrera, pero Jasmine no sabía que su estilo de vida no duraría para siempre. Siendo una trabajadora bastante inteligente, comenzó haciendo arreglos para donde la vida sería. La llevé cuando su trabajo como trabajadora de belleza finalmente llegó a su fin. Así que ella fue a escuela y obtuvo una licencia de bienes raíces y hizo los preparativos para abrir su propio gimnasio y el centro de entrenamiento personal. Jasmine he tenido varios intereses amorosos a lo largo de los años y finalmente lo consiguió. La atención de Robert Hasman, un hombre que ella realmente amaba, y admitió que ella quería establecerse con. Desafortunadamente, su relación realmente no duró. Y finalmente tomaron caminos separados, y en poco tiempo se encontró en los brazos de un hombre llamado Travis, y los dos se comprometieron en 2006, pero ellos dos rompieron su relación. Esto nos lleva a 2009, cuando Jasmine conoció a otro experto en bienes raíces con el nombre de Ryan Jenkins. Ryan era un inversor inmobiliario que poseía propiedades en toda la zona de Las Vegas. Pero aún no era un pez gordo. Más bien un pequeño inversor que era aún buscando encontrar su lugar en él. Negocios, y aún no lo había logrado del todo. Con esto en mente, Ryan hizo todo lo posible para mantener sus opciones abiertas, y una de las opciones eran aparecer en un reality show. Programas en Ryan de VH1 había solicitado una nueva serie. Meghan, conocida como Meghan, quiere recuperar a un millonario. A finales de 2008 o principios de 2009. Ryan estaba más la luna cuando fue aceptado en este programa, pero su paso por la serie no duró mucho y él estaba eliminado en uno de los anteriores episodios, pero para Ryan esto no importaba. Demasiado terriblemente, eso es porque simplemente días después de haber sido eliminado en la serie conoció a la mujer de sus sueños. Jazz. Faye. 2 días después de esto los dos estaban casados. Esto puede sonar completamente loco. Casarse con alguien que solo has conocido durante 2 días, y no me malinterpretes. En cierto modo lo es. Pero los dos afirman que ellos han estado genuinamente enamorado de uno u otra. Según los amigos de Jasmine y la familia en este momento, Jasmine estaba verdaderamente genuinamente feliz cuando estaba con Ryan. Jasmine era conocido por ser muy mujer vibrante y enérgica, y su relación con Ryan solo más amplificaron estas cualidades con respecto a ellas. Reunirse en un casino y tener un impulso de el momento de la boda. Su amor era muy real, pero como era de esperar, las cosas no siempre fueron perfectos. A los pocos meses Jasmine se vio obligada a llamar para su boda la policía después de que su esposo revelara el lado de sí mismo que ella nunca conoció. Música. Existía en junio de 2009, hacía solo 3 meses después de que Jasmine y Ryan se casaron. Se rumoreaba que Jasmine había estado dando pasos fuera de su matrimonio detrás de su marido. Jasmine había estado hablando con ella, el ex prometido Travis, y los dos se habían conocido arriba en lo que parece haber sido algún tipo de fiesta. En este evento Jasmine y Travis se besaron. Y esto hizo que Ryan perdiera los estribos. Y es comprensible, pero que no lo es. Ryan es bastante comprensible. Reacción al enterarme de esto ahora. No sé si Ryan los sorprendió a los dos, o si alguien le contaba lo que había sucedido, pero Ryan actuó de inmediato y él y Jasmine se metieron en una muy discusión acalorada. Travis admitió lo que había ocurrido y poco después Ryan golpeó a Jasmine y la hizo caer en una piscina cercana. La policía estaba. Se llamó y se realizaron los cargos de inmediato. Se presentaron cargos en su contra. Ryan estaba entonces preparado compareció en juicio en diciembre de 2009, pero los dos se reconciliaron poco después de todo esto. Se desarrolló y en poco tiempo volvieron. Están en la misma página otra vez, pero el matrimonio nunca volvería a ser lo mismo después. La madre de Lisa, Jasmine, afirma que Jasmine y Ryan peleaban constantemente. La razón principal de su argumento era que Ryan afirma que Jasmine nunca estuvo allí, dispuesta a dejar ir a su ex novios y a todos los efectos, y para estos propósitos, esto parece haber sido cierto. Ryan sentía que si hubieran roto eso, debería ser el final, pero Jasmine no lo sentía así, huelga decirlo. Brian era un hombre muy celoso, pero extrañamente algunos de los celos de Ryan y algunos de sus temores parecen haber sido en cierto modo justificado. Según Ryan, el padre Jasmine había estado merodeando por ahí a sus espaldas durante meses. Su padre afirma que Ryan le había contado sobre múltiples ocasiones en las que Jasmine se ausentaba durante varios días seguidos. Y nunca le digas a Ryan que se va, ni decirle dónde había estado ella todo el tiempo. Esta vez ahora lo que no sabemos es si todo esto ocurrió después o no. Los dos tuvieron el altercado en la fiesta, o si esto estaba ocurriendo cuando los dos se suponía que estaban en buenos términos, y esto todo sucedió justo después de que se separaron. Después de la fiesta, entonces lo entiendo perfectamente. Jasmine necesitaba espacio y la última persona ella quería estar con Ryan, pero si todo esto estaba sucediendo mientras los dos estaban en buenos términos y felizmente casados, entonces hay que admitir que Ryan no estaba siendo demasiado irrazonable al querer saber por qué la esposa llevaba varios días desaparecida. Peor aún, según Ryan, cuando ella regresaría y mentiría repetidamente sobre dónde había estado, pero Ryan nunca explicó cómo sabía que ella era. Mentir para hacer las cosas aún más confusas. Según se informa, Jasmine le dijo a su madre que los dos habían sellado su matrimonio en mayo de 2009. Solo 2 meses después de recibir casado, pero después de múltiples búsquedas de registros públicos no hay prueba de que esta afirmación era cierta en todos los sentidos. Dos parecen haber estado casados cuando todo de esto estaba sucediendo. Todo esto trae nosotros al 14 de agosto de 2009, la noche que las vidas de Jasmine y Ryan serían cambiar para siempre, y la misma noche que las últimas horas de Jasmine fueron capturadas en CCTV, y la noche que alteraría el curso de la telerrealidad para el resto de historia fue el 14 de agosto de 2009, cuando Jasmine y Ryan hicieron planes para quedarse en el Hotel Laren San Diego. Los dos tenía previsto asistir a un torneo de póker, que era algún tipo de organización benéfica, recaudación de fondos para recaudar dinero para el karma. Imágenes de CCTV de la fundación de la noche fue observada por los investigadores, que dijo que los dos fueron vistos teniendo una. Ryan y yo pasamos un tiempo estupendo juntos. Jasmine fue vista en las imágenes riendo y sonriendo durante todo el. Por la noche la pareja salió del hotel a las alrededor de las 2:30 de la madrugada del día. El 14 fue visto nuevamente en la Yedra Hotel, que era una discoteca en el centro de la ciudad San Diego. Este club nocturno fue el último tiempo en que los dos fueron vistos juntos, y por 4:30 am Ryan había regresado a su habitación de hotel solo, y él haría el check-out del hotel él solo a las 9 de la mañana. Esa mañana Jasmine nunca fue vista nuevamente. No se ha informado si, independientemente de si fue vista o no en las cámaras de seguridad en la discoteca. Pero lo que sea que haya pasado en esa discoteca, las cosas no han terminado bien para la pareja. Al día siguiente, 15 de agosto, la policía anunciaron que localizaron un cuerpo en un callejón en Boa Park, California. La persona tuvo un final terrible. Y los detectives dicen que todos le habían extraído los dientes, al igual que a todos los demás. Sus dedos haciendo identificación. Increíblemente difícil quien quiera que lo hubiera colocado. Este cuerpo de aquí, si querían a esta persona ser identificado alguna vez, lo único la policía pudo determinar que los restos eran femeninos y han sido aplastados dentro de una maleta que estaba demasiado pequeño. Más tarde ese día Ryan denunció la desaparición de su esposa, según declaró a la policía, que había visto a Jasmine por última vez alrededor de 8:30 de la noche del 14 de agosto en su casa en Los Ángeles. Dijo que los dos asistía al mencionado evento benéfico, el torneo de póker. Visitó algunos bares. Entonces regresaron a casa donde Jasmine se había quedado. Lo despedí y salí a correr un rato. Después de estos recados, nunca la volvió a ver. Una vez más, lo que nunca se ha explicado es por qué Ryan pensó que esta desaparición era todas las demás veces que Jasmine se levantó, y su desaparición fue sospechosa, si lo recuerdas. Jasmine era conocida por desaparecer durante días a la vez. Pero en este caso particular, instancia en la que denunció la desaparición de su esposa menos de 24 horas después de que ella desapareció, esto nunca ha sido completamente explicado, pero los investigadores tenían una razón. Creer que hay mucho más que Ryan es más de lo que parece. Música. Al día siguiente, Ryan había pasado algunos días tiempo en la casa de la pareja empacando algunas prendas de vestir y artículos de viaje que él era visto saliendo de su ático en agosto. El día 16, alrededor de las 9:12 de la noche, se dirigió directo a Nevada para recoger su barco. Pero esta no era la historia que él compartía con la policía cuando se pusieron en contacto con él. Más tarde ese mismo día les dijo que había estado en Utah y se dirigía a Canadá. Resolverá algunos problemas de inmigración. Problemas en torno a esta misma época. Los investigadores habían logrado algunos avances en el cuerpo que había sido descubierto en el contenedor de basura, a pesar del hecho de que el perpetrador había ido a such great medidas tomadas para ocultar la identidad de esta persona. Los restos fueron identificados justo días después, el 18 de agosto, cuando el forense, al examinar el cuerpo, notó que los senos de la mujer parecían tener había sido alterado y él creía que ella podría he comprado implantes en algún momento. Y esta suposición fue correcta. Durante un análisis el forense retiró el implante y pudo leer el número de serie, el número que había sido impreso en ellos. El número de serie los vinculaba directamente a Jasmine Fear. La forense pudo determinar que Jasmine había perdido la vida en apenas unas horas de su cuerpo. Fueron encontrados, pero las cosas empeoraron mucho. Desde aquí la policía fue alertada rápidamente de que se había encontrado un Mercedes blanco abandonado en un estacionamiento en West Hollywood. Hizo este descubrimiento menos a más de una milla de la casa de Jasmine y Ryan compartieron en Los Ángeles. Cuando él se registró el coche y se encontró que dos pertenecían a Jasmine, pero lo que hizo este descubrimiento es tan inquietante porque el interior del coche estaba cubierto de cantidad significativa de evidencia roja. Se encontraron manchas por todas partes en el coche. Y había incluso señales de que Jasmine, la policía, había arrancado cabello. Entonces reclasificaron el caso oficialmente, calificándolo como una investigación de homicidio. En ese momento la policía quiso hablar con Ryan sobre su paradero el momento en que Jasmine había desaparecido, pero no se le pudo encontrar por ningún lado. El siguiente día, el día 19 de agosto, Ryan llamó su padre de Vancouver demostrando que finalmente llegó a Canadá como les había dicho a los investigadores que lo haría. Fue durante esta llamada telefónica que Ryan, el padre, le informó que la policía estaba buscando hablar con él y eso habían encontrado el cuerpo de Jasmine y que tenían motivos para creer que ella había estado la víctima de un homicidio. En este punto la policía estaba buscando activamente a Ryan. Por una razón u otra creían firmemente él estaba detrás del crimen y se inició una persecución. Poco después siguieron los investigadores. Recibimos un aviso de que el SUV BMW negro de Ryan habían sido vistos dirigiéndose hacia Estados Unidos. La policía de la frontera canadiense, mientras remolcaba un barco, se encontraba en la frontera con Canadá. Más tarde encontraron el vehículo en un puerto deportivo en Washington. El vehículo estaba vacío y el remolque, que era remolque, también era vacío. Lo que demuestra que el barco estaba en algún lugar en el agua. El motor del vehículo estaba aún hacía calor. Así que Ryan no pudo haber ido demasiado lejos. Hay que mencionar lo que en ese momento Ryan no estaba considerado culpable, era simplemente considerado una persona de interés que la policía quería hablar desesperadamente con. La policía estaba muy interesada en entrar en contacto con él para que la Guardia Costera de Estados Unidos y la Oficina de Aduanas y Protección Fronteriza, la agencia, anunció que estaban enviaron varios barcos para buscarlo. No sería hasta el 19 de agosto que finalmente llegó el suspiro creíble de Ryan. En un testigo había visto a alguien que se parecía a Ryan pilotando un barco cerca Point Roberts en Washington. ¿Dónde está Ryan? Se sabía que la madrastra no había vivido allí antes de que llegara este informe. La policía anunciaron que tenían motivos para creer que había cruzado la frontera de vuelta en Canadá en algún momento entre el 19 y el día 20. Esto fue la gota que colmó el vaso. Para los investigadores sabían que Ryan habían sido informados de que la policía estaba buscándolo. Así que para ellos esto era prueba de que estaba evadiendo la captura, lo que los impulsó a intensificar su búsqueda por él, etiquetándolo como su Prime sospechoso y acusándolo oficialmente de música, homicidio fue el 20 de agosto cuando llegó en el motel Thunderbird en Gran Bretaña. Llegó a Columbia, Canadá, con un joven mujer a quien el trabajador del motel describió como. Los dos eran atractivos, jóvenes y muy tranquilos. Pagó 3 noches en el hotel y el gerente no los encontró ni siquiera. Lo menos sospechoso es cuando la policía investigaron la identidad de la mujer que Ryan fue visto con ellos. Rápidamente se dio cuenta de que era su media hermana Elena. La gerente del motel señaló que él había vio a Ryan caminando frente a su habitación el 21 de agosto con aspecto extremadamente exhausto. Dijo que se veía tan desaliñado que aunque él era consciente de la búsqueda de Ryan, Jenkins no reconoció que esto fuera lo mismo persona antes de las 11:30 am del 23 de agosto. El gerente notó que Ryan nunca salió de su habitación, que había sido. El gerente reservó a nombre de Elena. Luego le pidió a su sobrino que fuera a ver cómo estaba él y asegurarse de que se hubiera ido, pero fue entonces cuando se encontró con otro más. Escena del crimen cuando el sobrino abrió la puerta de la habitación donde encontró el cuerpo de Ryan colgado de un perchero por un cinturón. Se había quitado la vida. Una nota nunca encontrado en el lugar del crimen, pero los investigadores encontrarían más tarde uno en la computadora de Ryan. Tenía fecha del 20 de agosto. El contenido de esta carta nunca ha sido hecho público y desafortunadamente esto significa que el caso de Yasmín hasta el día de hoy ya nunca se ha resuelto, pero esto está lejos de ser el final de la historia. La policía muy firmemente creen que Ryan fue quien tomó la vida de Yasmín. De hecho, están muy seguros de que esto es cierto. Tienen ninguna otra persona de interés y era bastante claro ver que Ryan estaba luchando con algo bastante serio. Culpa en los últimos días y horas de su vida. La vida después de que Ryan perdiera la vida, policía comenzó a indagar más detenidamente en su pasado. Y VH1 hizo lo mismo. VH1 siendo el compañía que lo invitó a aparecer en Megan quiere un millonario. Según VH1 siempre realiza una verificación de antecedentes. Comprueba cada estrella que aparece en una de sus programas de telerrealidad. Afirmaron que la verificación de antecedentes de Ryan dio resultado perfectamente claro, pero una comprobación posterior reveló alguna información interesante, como resultaría que en 2007 Ryan ha sido investigado por agredir a una mujer en Calgary. La compañía productora detrás Megan quiere ser millonaria reiteró que nunca habría sido se les permite entrar al programa si han sido conscientes de esto. VH1 explicó que ellos emplearon a un tercero privado firma de investigación para llevar a cabo todas sus verificaciones de antecedentes, pero estas verificaciones se limitan a los delitos que ocurrieron dentro de nuestras fronteras y Calgary es obviamente ubicado en Canadá, por lo tanto la información sobre este crimen nunca llegó a VHY, pero lo que hace que las cosas sean aún más interesante es que este tercero inteligencia colectiva de la empresa anunciaron que en realidad no habían estado los encargados de realizar la verificación de antecedentes, ya que Ryan era originario de Canadá. Habían subcontratado la verificación de antecedentes a otra compañía conocida como Straight Línea Internacional. A raíz de las acusaciones contra el colectivo, Ryan Inteligencia demandó a Straight Line Internacional por incumplimiento de contrato, afirmando que la empresa estaba completamente consciente del historial violento de Ryan, pero nunca informó de la historia al colectivo Inteligencia o colectivo VH1. La inteligencia acabaría perdiendo credibilidad con sus principales clientes Viacom, NBC y ABC, y la línea recta se vieron obligados a pagar inteligencia colectiva sobre $800,000 en daños, pero las cosas aún está a punto de volverse aún más loco. Si pudieras, ni siquiera imaginen que VH1 no solo hubiera contratado Jenkins, formará parte de la primera temporada. Megan quiere un millonario, de hecho. Después de haber sido eliminado del programa, lo contrataron para aparecer en la temporada 3 de Me encanta el dinero, otro reality show. Nunca he visto esta serie. Pero el artículo de Wikipedia sobre la serie dice que el programa contó con concursantes competir en diversas pruebas físicas y mentales desafíos con la esperanza de ganar el gran premio de $250,000, como se convertiría en. Ryan Jenkins ganó el tercer temporada del programa. Ryan, según se informa, llamaba a Jasmine todos los días mientras él estaba filmando el programa, prometiéndole que él iba a hacer todo lo posible para ganar el dinero para que los dos pudieran vivir la vida que siempre habían soñado. Pero también se informó que a lo largo de la duración de su filmación del programa las llamadas a Jasmine se volvieron cada vez más frecuentes y más agresivo con cada pase día, y quedó claro que él era. Mientras él comenzaba a sospechar de Jasmine, se había ido y temía que pudiera haberlo había estado engañando, y a su regreso de filmar los rumores sobre ella, su relación con su exnovio es cierto que puede haber tenido razón, y esto puede haber sido su motivo para terminar la vida de Jasmine. Después de esto, Revelación VH1 tomó la decisión de retirar el anuncio de la tercera temporada de I Love Dinero. Ni un solo episodio de esta temporada tiene alguna vez emitido, y la compañía productora 51 Mine se vio obligada a llegar a un acuerdo con VH1 por más de $12 millones en pérdidas de la incapacidad de emitir el programa fue un golpe bastante serio para la empresa, y fue un golpe tremendo para la realidad, la televisión en su conjunto, y podría haber arruinó fácilmente todo el género. Ya que ves un típico programa de televisión de ficción, demuestra que probablemente no piensas demasiado mucho sobre los actores, porque son no representándose a sí mismos en la pantalla, están representando a un personaje que era creado y escrito para ellos. Pero cuando llega a la telerrealidad, parte de lo que hace es tan cautivador que tú eres observar a la persona real decir y hacer cosas que probablemente harían decir y hacer en la vida real. Puede intensificarse arriba, pero no es ficción. Pero la cosa con la telerrealidad es que incluso cuando viendo a estas estrellas en la gran pantalla todavía no tienes ni idea de quiénes son como persona, y eso es un pensamiento aterrador. Es la misma sensación que viene con viendo youtubers famosos o redes sociales, estrellas de los medios. Solo ves lo que ellos o su equipo de publicidad quiere que veas. Para Ryan Jenkins, VH1 solo quería que tú ver su lado entretenido para él. En su mayor parte, a estas empresas no les importa menos quiénes son estas personas detrás de escenas, y Ryan no fue una excepción. Siendo honesto, tengo una muy buena sintiendo que la única razón por la que VH1 era incluso estar molesto por todo esto fue porque casi les hicieron perder $12 millones en eso. Tercera temporada de Me encanta el dinero, y un escándalo como este podría haber fácilmente arruinaron todo su catálogo de programas de telerrealidad. Al hablar con Mark Cronin, el cofundador de 51 Mans, el principal compañía productora detrás de muchos de los programas de VH1, los programas de telerrealidad más populares, explica que la pérdida de Jasmine Fear ha ensombrecido la telerrealidad del género en su conjunto. Dijo que los crímenes de Ryan Jenkins le han dado una nueva perspectiva cuando está selección de concursantes para futuros reality shows. Los programas de televisión dicen que confía en su instinto. Muchos más en estos días sugiriendo que él tenía la corazonada de que algo no andaba bien. Tenía razón sobre Ryan, pero eligió traerlo en el programa de todos modos, demostrando aún más señalan que en su mayor parte a las empresas no les importan estas personas o quienes son realmente como personas. Otro productor intervino y dijo que preferiría tener una corazonada sobre alguien los excluya de un espectáculo y se equivocan sobre ellos y luego terminan con otra situación como la de Ryan Jenkins, productor de otra serie de telerrealidad. El Gran Hermano incluso ha declarado que estos días muchos estudios que realizan trabajo de fondo los controles ya ni siquiera tienen en cuenta con su presupuesto, quieren lo mejor. Verificación exhaustiva de antecedentes que puedan encontrar sin importar el costo, y solo espero que esto es cierto. Al final Ryan Jenkins nunca pudo ser detenido responsable de sus presuntos crímenes, pero si ha salido algo bueno en este caso es que la televisión de realidad parece ser mucho más segura. Lugar ahora, aunque solo sea para proteger en líneas de fondo de estos sin rostro corporaciones, pero nunca debería haberlo hecho asumir la pérdida de la vida de alguien por estos estudios para proporcionar a sus actores con un entorno de trabajo seguro y que mucho nunca debe olvidarse. Gracias. Gracias a todos por sintonizar otro episodio de Historias de Crímenes Reales. Si te gustaron estas, mira este otro video interesante caso que cubrí y no olvides suscríbete, es totalmente gratis y te manténgate al tanto de todo lo que haré en el futuro. Videos, pero con eso mi nombre es Tanad. Y nos vemos en el próximo.